Buongiorno, buonasera, benvenuti amici. My name is Vincenzo and welcome to my channel, Fountain Pen Therapy. What I realized in 2023 was that pocket pens had become more and more popular. Several brands have their own pocket pen versions or models. And, the Dieman M1 and M2 recently came out. And I just happened to see this one. Now, I'm not sure whether or not this has been around for a while or if this is a novelty, but it's certainly a novelty for me. And I haven't seen too many reviews on it, so I'm assuming it's a pen that's just came out or recently came out. And it's the Jinhao 100 Mini. So Jinhao now has a mini version for its 82 model and also for its 100 model. So what I propose is that we take a look at this pen. How does it fare with other pocket pens? Let's do a comparison. We'll do a writing sample, and I'll tell you what I like about it and what I don't like about it. So please stay tuned. Okay, so here is the pen. It's a déjà vu, of course. This is a dual-fold inspiration, to say the least. That beautiful Jinhao logo and in the finial, really like that. That is a really nice touch. Wish more pen models would come that way. And then you got that classic Parker clip. It's a little bit different just because they've streamlined it right there, if you can see that. So it is a little bit different, but having said that, that's the model. If we compare it to just a regular sized 100, there you have it. By the way, this is a new pen that I just purchased. Look at the chatoyancy on that 100. Really, really nice. I have many versions of the Jinhao 100, but there you have it. So it's actually the Mini is probably more, looks more like the original duofold than the bigger version, and we'll see that in a second because I do have a duofold to compare it with. So that's the outside of the pen. Nice band with the Jinhao branding there. If we open it up, let's just see how many turns. That's 1, 2 turns. So 2 turns. And it reveals a Jinhao. I have a medium nib on this pen. So that's the Jinhao medium there. It's a number 5 sized nib to go with the mini version of the pen. It is a cartridge converter. Okay, so there you have it. Typical Jinhao construction or build quality. It's there. It feels kind of a little bit flimsy and light and thin, but it's a mini pen, right? So we can't expect it to be too heavy, but we'll see in the pen comparison that it could have been. As far as posting is concerned, it does post right at the tip there. As you can see, it just take the whole finial. It is very, it's set there, so it does post properly. Deeply, perhaps not, because the pen becomes very, very long for a mini pen, if you will. A little back weighted because the whole cap is right at the tip. But it's because the pen is generally light. I don't believe that posting it will cause a major disequilibrium in the writing experience. But again, as you know, if you've seen more videos on my channel, I don't like posting my pens. And if you don't want to, for a mini pen, it's doable. Okay, because often pocket pens or mini pens, you need to post in order to even use them. This one, I think, can be used without posting. So there you have it. So that is the inside and the outside. Let's just take a look inside the cap here to see if there is any sealing. No, it's just one big sleeve there. There may have, it's difficult to tell. I see a little step right there. I don't know if you see it. right there. So there may be a little step that helps the sealing. So, well, in that case, tant mieux, as they say. Good. Excellent. So there you have the design and features of the pen. Now let's take a look at, we'll do a pen comparison, if you will. I'll take out the pens that I've chosen for the comparison are these, if you will. Let me just put the 100 up. And I did want you to see how this one compares to the real thing. So let's just take a look at this. Okay, first of all, let me just back up a little bit. Here we go. That's the big 100, if you will. So it gives you an idea of how it compares. It's shorter, but not much shorter. Now this is a real duofold Parker. So you could see that and this may be like another version of the Parker clip. I'm not sure, but in this original duofold, now this duofold, yes, it's light, but it just feels so much more substantive in terms of quality, obviously, and it's a really gem. It's one of my favorite pens, this little pocket pen. And of course, when you compare it to this Kegeloo, the Kegeloo they've got some metal in here, I think. So the Kegeloo is much, much heavier. And I would say that I like it better with a little more weight. And of course, it compares to the Pilot E95S, which I will, by the way, be reviewing sometime soon. Or maybe not, maybe in the order of things, it may have already been reviewed, because I'm not sure when this particular subject video that I'm doing right now will be published. And then, of course, here it is compared to the TWSBI Mini. So there you have it. That's a comparison of the pens capped. And here is a comparison of the pens, if you will, uncapped, and you can see that the subject pen, the Jinhao 100 Mini, is the longest, at least in this sampling, with my E95S Pilot being probably the smallest in the gang, along with the original duofold, which is interesting. And there you have it. The pens are uncapped. They all have smaller nibs, of course, other than the big version. It's just there to give you an indication of how much smaller it is to the Jinhao 100 standard size. So there you have it. So that's the comparison with the pens uncapped and unposted. And here are the pens posted. It's a right at the tip, sort of a poster, the Jinhao 100 Mini. So that's what explains its length. It's a little too long in my view. You can see it compared to the original, which posts really nicely. But you know what? It's the same thing with the Kegeloo. Kegeloo just sits at the top there, but because it's a shorter pen to begin with, it's a reasonable size. And of course, there's the Pilot, which is just a beautiful poster. The way it posts and the way it slips, obviously, is very unique. And my TWSBI is also a screw-in sort of a posting mechanism, which makes the pen not line up, if you will, which is always a problem. I think there's a way to make sure it does, but I can never get it, and this is a real pain for me because I always end up not lining up my clip to the nib, which disturbs me. I don't know if it disturbs others. So there you have the pens posted, and what we'll do next is put up the measurement table and then proceed to the writing sample. I'm really anxious to see how that number 5 size medium nib from Jinhao works out. I think most of my number 5s are all fines. I'm glad I could get the medium. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Okay, so we're back for the writing sample. First of all, the ink. The ink we're going to be using today is this Colorverse, and it's the Delicious Sleep by Colorverse, which I think is a very, very nice ink. And if we want to take a look at a swatch, let me just see if I could find that in my swatch book. I thought I had found it, but I have two Colorverses. Here it is. So there it is. It's the Colorverse Delicious Sleep. That's the color. I didn't want to go with a straight black. I just find black boring. So I decided that we would go with a purple. So that's the ink. And in terms of the paper, well, I'm using this Tomio River notepad by Galen with the Galen accessory here as well, and that should do the trick. Okay, so let's proceed with the writing sample. So first of all, this is the Jinhao 100 Mini. And it's because it comes in 14 colors, I'm going to specify that this is the black gold trimming model. Okay. As far as the nib is concerned, the nib is a Jinhao steel number 5 medium. The ink that we are using today is Colorverse Delicious Sleep. Now, in terms of the ink, in terms of the nib, I can tell you right now that the nib has absolutely no spring to it whatsoever. Kind of very, very stiff. It's a real nail. It is somewhat wet, but I don't like the feedback on this nib. It's a little too much for medium. I don't know if you could hear it. Can I get some? Look, I can't get even any more width in that line. It's fairly constant, however, but I just find the feedback a little scratchy. Okay, so not ideal. I would probably want to going to give it a little smoothing and maybe even open up those tines a little bit so that I could use it. Let me just try the pen posted, by the way. Yeah, I think it's probably more comfortable for me anyway, posted. In terms of fast writing, yeah, you could hear it's very, very loud because it is the feedback is a little too much, but it does kind of follow. So it is wet. It's not very wet. It's a little too scratchy for my taste, but it's very constant. Okay, so in terms of the likes, okay, so in terms of well, the fact that we have a mini 100 is a nice thing. I think that Jinhao did well to come out with their own pocket version of this 100. The build quality is fairly good, I would say to you. It's Jinhao quality, but it's fairly well. As far as value is concerned, I think this pen, I don't recall what I paid it, but I seem to have a reaction that it was a little too much for a mini 100. Okay. The dislikes is this nib. The nib is absolutely, it's not encouraging me to write with this pen or to use it. So I need to do something about that nib. It's too bad. It's a good looking dual toned nib. And because it was medium, I was really hoping that it would be a little thicker in terms of the line. But maybe the line is good and it's just a scratchiness that's disturbing me. Is this a go-to pen? Only if I fix that nib. So I've got to fix the nib. The design, well, the design is a copy, so I can't rave about the design. It's not necessarily a dislike, but it's not something that I would flaunt on this pen because it's a duofold inspiration, if you will. There you have it. So that's it for the review. It's interesting that they did come out with this pen. I think the nib needs to be, the nib definitely needs to be worked on. It's a good addition to my collection. I would say to you, it is a Parker inspired pen, so it is good looking. I mean, it's got that the beautiful gold trimmings with that classic black. So if I need a mini pen, or even in a boardroom setting, I think this little pocket pen, if I pull it out of my sleeve, could be very handy. So it may be a go-to pen, but only if I fix that nib. And trust me, I will do everything in my power, and I'm sure I will succeed. So there you have it. I hope you've enjoyed this additional review. We're keeping in track in giving you, pocket pens when they do come out. I know I've got the M2 ordered, the Dieman M2. I'm going to probably do a little comparison with the M1. I was a little bit disappointed with the M1. We'll see what the M2 gives, but stay tuned for that. That should be coming in sometime soon. I've got an Italian pen to review. Stay tuned for that. And I've got an Indian pen as well. So we're tracking all of the various categories that I set out to cover for 2024. Thank you very much for joining me. Be well and see you soon.